Okay, hold on. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Give me a moment and let me open this up and we'll get started. Mm, 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 mm. Let's see. All right, Sister Dana,
Hi.
it's ready. All right, guys. So thank you for joining us tonight with my favorite couple.
Mhm.
Um, this week, well, let me give you a short backstory before I start talking. Um, maybe over the course of 2 weeks, God has been laying on my heart men and men in bad relationships. They are married, they are in relationships, they are scared to talk about their feelings, their emotions, they're in depression, they don't know what to do. And I want to talk about that. And I know I was kind of nervous a little bit to because I was feeling like I may face some backlash with this because sometimes when women tend to speak up for men or vice versa, we are known as pick me's or we're trying to get in good on the side of the man. But here's the thing, I don't have anything to gain from this. I am pro marriage. I love marriage. I was married for 14 years. When I went into my marriage, I didn't say, hey, I want to get a divorce. That was never what it was supposed to be. I started dating instead, who killed it 9 years ago. And I started it because as a Black community, we were not taught to communicate. As a Black community, we were not taught anything about marriage, one on one. We were shown certain things, but nothing was really explained. So it was, kind of look at what you see. And, some conversations we had, some things we didn't have. And I want to talk about all parts of marriage. I want to talk about all parts of relationships, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I believe with the Blockers, they have a phenomenal story. They have a real story. How long have you guys been together?
Mm, We've been together for about 16 and a half years
Okay.
since
Mhm.
2005.
Okay. So they have some time under their belt. And I know sometimes some people, tend to look at us, we're, in our early 40s or Danny, y'all ain't turned 40 yet, have you?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
41.
Okay, yeah.
Oh,
So early 40s and
Hmm.
like, there's no experience, but they have an awesome testimony. They have an awesome story. And if you know me, you know I love real stories. And I believe that's the only way that we can learn from one another. So we're going to talk about a plethora of things, but we're going to probably be siding. I'm not going to say siding alongside the men, but I want to hear a little bit of how men feel in relationships and how we as women can help, you know, um, help help the men feel better, help them, just feel in place and like they're wanted, being in the relationship. So, guys, did you want to say anything before we get started?
Glad to
no.
be here.
Yeah, we're glad to be here. Blessed.
All right,
Mhm.
for those who don't know you guys, if you would go ahead and introduce yourselves really quickly, I'd appreciate it.
You go, Jane.
I'm Andre Blocker, married to Sister Blocker here. Oh man. I guess some people call me Bishop, they call me Deacon. I don't know, man. They got all kind of names for me. But I'm married to Sister Blocker. We've been married for a long time. We was a blended family, so we but we've been through a whole bunch, so and
All
I
right.
love Sister Light Skin over there.
Lord.
Brother Andre, I don't know. Can you turn your phone up some? It's a little low,
Oh, can
or
I turn
maybe
my phone
it's
up
on
some?
my end.
Oh, okay, I turned it up.
Okay, cool. All
Okay.
right, Dane, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's fine. Well, my name is Edana Blocker, and most people know me by Dana. I've been married to Andre for about 16 and a half years. We've been together for really 17 and a half years. We got married in July. We got married July the 22nd, 2006. So about a year, well, together we dated for about 6 months and then got engaged after that. Well, and then got married 6 months after that. So about a year. So
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm glad to be here.
All right. Well, welcome, guys. So, like I said, what God has been showing me is about, I'm going to say, the battered man. And I know that sounds really bad. But one of the things that I learned about with the conversation that I had with Corey is that the power of the woman's tongue can be a lot. And
Mhm.
so, how
Mhm.
important, Andre, like, yeah.
Mhm.
So how important is it how the woman, Andre, speaks to the man when she speaks to him? How do you feel like she should? I know everything's not perfect, but in a
No.
perfect world, how should the woman speak to her man?
Um, yeah, it ain't y'all stop making me laugh. Look, hey, it's very important. It's very important how a woman speaks to a man because besides his friends, he looked to his woman to encourage him, because he sees the most of him because she's with him the most since if he ain't with his kids or he ain't with his friends, he would hurt the most. So if she his wife, he definitely looking to her for comfort and encouragement. Besides because when you younger, you look towards your mom because your mom is the one who instills a lot of things in you. If especially guys, you know how y'all be saying he a mama's boy or whatever. Well, your mom speak the most truth in you. So when you're younger, she begins to tell you who you are. And if you have a dad, then your dad comes along and say, but mostly your mom, she believes the most in you when you're a young man. So it's important on how your wife speaks to you. It's very important. Yeah.
Okay. Dane, I'm gonna ask you the same question. How do you think it's important to speak to your husband, the tone, what you say, those things? How important do you think? Do you see a difference when you speak to him a certain way?
I think it's very important how you speak to your spouse. Um, because at the end of the day, they're human. They're not perfect, also. And it's like, you want to make sure you respect them. I would say it's very important because life and death is in the power of the tongue. And so you want to be able to speak life on your spouse, to your spouse. Because, sometimes it's growing through marriage, especially when you don't know any better, your mouth can be a knife or like a switchblade, to your spouse. And that's, not a good thing. And you can say stuff, that can really like ridicule your spouse. And I learned that all through my marriage, because I wasn't really taught that,
Hmm.
excuse me. But my mom said a good example, the way she talked to my dad. I didn't see her, raise her voice or, you know, but we in two different generations, So, I think it's very vital. And I think when you do talk in an even tone, I mean, he's gonna listen. But when you get to running, popping off that mouth, they ain't listening. You pretty much gonna be shut down. So, I think it's very important how you talk to them. Just out of respect. Because you got to think about yourself as well too. Would you want somebody to talk to you like that too? And it's the process. I learned that along my marriage. Like I said, the last time how I had that lady, you know, Cherie came and talked to me, about, just, came to me in love, like, no, you don't talk like that to your spouse, to your husband. But she did it so very like where she covered me and not blast, So I think it's very vital how you talk to your spouse because if you're not coming in the right angle, they're not gonna listen to you, especially not a man. They're not gonna do it. So you can be racing hot air.
Hmm.
Okay. So
One end after the other.
yeah.
Right.
For sure. He's going in one. He gonna say,
Yeah.
"Yep, yep," and he gonna shut down. Well, especially if he ain't the arguing now. He might argue with you to get his point across, but
Yeah.
more than likely he gonna shut down and be like, "All right, it's all good," and then he either gonna leave or he ain't gonna say anything else to you.
Right.
Then you gonna be like, "Man, he don't want to talk. He don't want to talk about it no more."
Yeah.
Because
That's true.
yeah, it hurts his pride. One thing about a man, he want respect. Yeah, he got pride. He want respect the most though.
Yeah. So one of the things, Dana, we talk about quite often is accountability.
Right.
And one of the things that I have noticed really bad about women
Mhm.
is we tend, well, I try to. You try
Mhm.
to. But
Right.
we have to be mindful to be accountable for our actions, the things we do, the things we
Right.
say, how we say them. You know,
Mhm.
if something is wrong,
Right.
just how we treat one another, how we do certain things. And a lot of women are not taking accountability. So what
Right.
I am seeing is they will point the finger at the man. You did this, you didn't
Right.
do this. Why didn't you, X, Y, and Z, and
Right.
it's always a problem with the man.
Right.
And the reason I can say that is because a lot of women entrust to, come and talk to me
Mhm.
about relationships. And
Right.
all I hear is, well, he.
Right. That's
So my
right.
next question is, well, what did you do?
Right.
Because my thing is, especially if you're under God and you have a relationship with God, and
Mhm.
we've talked about this a lot, how
Right.
can God show you everybody, but he ain't
But
show
show
you yourself?
yourself. Right. Right.
Because I can
Mhm.
speak for when I was in marriage with Boo. Like Boo had a very slick mouth. Like
Mhm.
he could listen. I couldn't get with him when it came to arguing. Like I'm not an argumentative person, and he
Uh,
can just rattle it off. And so I would get so frustrated. Like it was just very frustrating. So I would try to match him. And so we going back and forth yelling. Well, nothing was getting resolved. And the
Right.
Holy Spirit said, Reagan, shut your mouth.
Right.
Shut your mouth.
Yeah.
And a lot of women don't know how, ladies, I'm gonna step on your toes. Okay? Just letting
Step
you know.
on them.
Yeah. Ladies, a
mhm.
lot of y'all don't know how to shut your mouth.
Right.
Mhm.
And here's the thing. That was one of the most powerful things that I learned to do in my marriage, because what ended up happening is I would let him go ahead and talk. Now, did that bother
Mhm.
me? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because at first I
Mhm.
did not feel heard. But
Mhm.
what ended up happening is I would let him say what he had to say. We would go to our separate corners and not talk for, 20 minutes, whatever. And he would come back and say, you know what, babe? Let's talk about it.
Right.
At that point, we were able to have a good conversation, TT and ha ha, make up and go on.
Right.
But what would have happened if I'm still toe to toe with him, or trying to,
Mhm.
sometimes
Yeah.
somebody gonna have to cow back. Somebody gonna have
Right.
to be quiet, right?
Mhm. Right.
And so I just think, with change, we have to look at us first.
Right.
We can't look at the other person, because another
Mhm.
thing I learned is you can't change anybody.
That's
Mhm.
right.
And when
You
I
can't.
got married, I'm going to be honest, and a lot of women do this and they don't say it. I felt like I could change the way he was. We would get
Right.
married and think, no, you can't change anybody. You have
Right.
to change yourself. And that's
Mhm.
between him and God, what's
Right.
going to happen. So,
Mhm.
going back to the accountability,
Mhm.
how important to you, Dana, is taking accountability for your actions in the household and learning how to self-correct without
I
Andre
would
having
say,
to probe you?
main thing like that we talk about is being self-aware. Being self-aware. That's the key thing. And of course, you know me, honey. I stay being convicted. I'm the most convicted person you can be. But I think it's very vital. And I know going back to years, like I remember times I try to change Dre with certain stuff, and I've told you this,
Mhm.
and God be like, you trying to correct him, but I'm trying to correct you. And then also, it's just like, and God be like, you need to go back and apologize to your husband, the way you came across. I know what he's done. I deal with him because I feel like I was like, damn, I always apologize. Like, I'm always getting convicted. Like,
She
Lord
always be say
Jesus.
that.
Like,
She always
dang.
be that.
But I always tell people, how is it God showing you your spouse all the time, but he's never showing you? Because like I told you, what sometimes irritates you about your spouse is basically some stuff that you basically deal with yourself, the inward self. You see what I'm saying? And so I had to start taking accountability. I'm like, man, I would get mad at Dre. I'm like, man, you listen to that, blah, blah, blah. And girl, turn around doing the same thing. Hypocrite. And so God began to start dealing with
Yeah.
me, dealing with my heart. You know what I'm saying? Like, you trying to change your husband, but I'm trying to change you.
Right.
And that's why for me, that's why I didn't like to argue a lot because I know my mouth is like a machete. I knew that like that side of my mouth was a machete, and I've cut. So that's why I was like, honey, corners, like yeah. But I think it's very vital to take accountability because I can't say, well, dang, it's always Dre, and I tell people all the time, if you only can tell me your side, if you only can tell me like that person's side, but you never say nothing about what you're doing, that's a red flag for me because we all do something. You get what I'm saying? It's not always our spouse. It's us too. Let's just be honest. It may be what's in our hearts. You know what I'm saying? It could be just, it's good. What's in your heart is going to eventually come out. But I
Right.
think it's very vital to take accountability. But when I hear people say, man, my husband did this and he did this, I'm like, okay, but what did you do?
Right.
But see, you
Yeah.
didn't tell nobody that though. But see, God
Right.
knows. But let's just be honest. You don't probably cuss your husband out behind closed doors. Your mouth, you don't pop up off that mouth. You know what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
let's just be honest. Let's take the mask off, remove the mask.
Yeah. Because
So,
I know
like I
Boo
said,
was.
it's very vital. Like you said, it's very vital to be self-aware of how you treat it. Just not just a spouse, but anybody.
I
Let
remember one
me.
Yeah,
story. Because when I get upset, I curse. Like if you
yeah,
ever hear me curse, I'm
Mm-hmm.
I'm there. Because I typically
Mm-hmm.
do not like cursing. I think it's
yeah.
Yeah.
unattractive for women to curse. I've always been that way. But if I do, I'm angry. Yeah.
Yes,
If I
mother.
do,
Yeah,
I'm very angry.
Mama.
yes.
And
Yeah.
me and Boo got into it, and I mean, I think I threw every cuss word I could think at him. And he used to call me church lady. He said, "Boy, church lady." He said, "If your members only sat up
Uh,
here and heard you talk, you
Mhm.
know, how you
man.
talk to me behind these closed doors." And so that just leads me to transparency.
Yeah.
One of the things that I think is missing, especially in the church, is transparency.
Yeah.
Dana, we talk about this all the
Yeah.
time.
All the time. Yeah.
One of the things that always stick out to me, and God has laid it like
Hmm.
He's engraved it in my heart, is worship Him in spirit and in
Right.
truth. And the truth part of Christianity and personal lives are missing.
Right.
I believe that you can have, but the
Mhm.
word also talks about that too. You're overcome by the word of your testimony.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we share that, we help one another.
Yeah.
And so that leads me into, well, I want to get into that question too, but how, which we, how, well, I want to ask like three different questions.
Mhm.
How do you feel like people not being transparent in the church, especially when you're operating in different ministries? So, like the youth church, marriage, relationship,
Mhm.
maybe drugs or whatever it is.
Right.
How do you think that affects the church members or the body by not being transparent?
I think Dre answered that question.
I would say not being trans. Well, you don't have to tell everything, but you do can tell some specific details that can help others out. You know what I'm saying? You got to share your story. And that's what Jesus did, what he did with the parables. You know what I'm saying? He shared stories that can help others out in a knowledgeable way that they can understand. You know what I'm saying? Because you got people that's not saved, and you got
Right.
people over the world. But being transparent is very good because people
Yeah.
can take your story. It's just like a movie. Your life is already a movie. Everybody's life is a movie. You know what I mean? So whatever happens, if you're able to share that story, it can help somebody else because
Hmm.
they can get touched by it and get delivered. And
Right.
I would think that after you get saved, God wants you to share your story. That's how you're gonna
Right.
get people
I
to
agree.
Him is sharing your story, telling
Hmm.
people what really happened to you. And some people are not as open, you know what I'm saying? Because some people are embarrassed of the old things that they did, or maybe you know what I'm saying, and maybe you know what I'm saying. God had to show them that they really set free from it, because people, you got people in the church that talk just like people on the street, so. Yeah,
Man, if not worse,
yeah, it's
listen,
not
they
worse. Yeah,
probably
that's what I'm
worse.
saying. So you definitely gotta watch. You gotta be led by the Spirit who to share the story with. But if you free, who the Son set free is free indeed. It don't matter who you tell the story to or what they think about you. You know what God did, because basically, in all, you're gonna be bragging on what He did and how He
Right.
changed your life into your new person. Because the Bible says, any man be in Christ, be a new creature. You know what I'm saying? All old things pass away. So whatever you did back then, after you come in Him, He began to wipe those things away. So, yeah. So it's real. It's real.
Mhm.
In the marriage, you definitely need to be transparent. I would say this too in the in marriage. This young this lady had talked to one of our mentors. She taught us this. She said when you guys are talking to each other, 'cause, boy, me and Dana, boy, we be arguing, boy. I'm talking about we argue. And boy, I'm gonna get my point across. She gonna get her point across. Man, we ain't going to no corners. We going at it because I'm gonna make sure. Well, look, and then she be like, "Well, how you gonna be singing in front of all these people, and then you don't even know how to talk to me?" Yeah, oh, let's just like Abu did. You singing in front of these people. Oh, you can lift up holy hands when you in the church, but when it comes to your wife, you can't even speak. I'm like, man, how you always on me all the time? So. But this is what the young lady told. This is what she told us. I meant to. Oh, she was chewing on me, boy. I'm just eating me. So this is what she said. She said, "Hey, look, when y'all talking to each other, say this is what I'm hearing you say to me," and that helped a lot. I like this is what I'm hearing you saying because sometimes you can say stuff to each other, but it comes differently to this and that, but to somebody else it sounds different. So
Right.
or to Dana, she's like, "Well, no, that Dana like, no, I'm not really saying that." You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, this is what I'm hearing you saying. What I'm hearing you saying is, I need to get this done. And this is how I'm taking. No, I'm not saying it like that. No, but then she'd be like, well, this is what I'm hearing you say. And then when you talk to one another like that, you can kind of communicate a little better because that's a good thing where you can say, well, this is what I'm hearing you saying. Okay, let's take a pause. Let me. I know you're upset right now. And you probably don't want because I'm gonna tell you what I used to do wrong. When Dana mad, I'm trying to talk to her because I want to get it
Mhm.
out the way. When she pissed, ain't no use to talk to her. Just let her go in her corner. You know what I'm saying? God will convict her. I learned that after a while. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? If she in the wrong, God he'll convict her
Yeah.
and this and that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? She'll come and apologize to you because boy, hey, she'll cut you, boy. Hey, she cut me one time, boy. I ain't know if I want to even be singing no more, boy. She cut me so bad one time. I was like, man, I am I even saved? What Dana, boy? Hey, she cut me. I was
Well,
like,
no,
man, I don't even know if I'm saved, but I'm like, man, I
now
might
I
need
can,
to ask the
he had
Lord,
to
am I still
understand.
saved? Huh?
He had to understand like my transparency, how I was. I know it's maybe in mature area in my life, but I was the type of person. I'm not getting up there singing. I ain't doing none of that stuff. I was not
Mm-hmm.
getting up there. I couldn't fake it. I'm sorry, not saying he was, but he fought through. But for me, I would go sit in the car. Like, honey, they knew. Like, I drove off, girl, in the car. He's like, "Where you going, girl?" I drove off. I'm about to go to my mama's house. Bye. Like, for me, cause I feel like it was very. I never, like you said, it goes back to like the question you were saying, like how important is your testimony? How important transparency is in the church. It's so vital to be honest with people about what you go through in your marriage. Like Dre said, you don't have to tell everything, but you need to tell something because you have folks that are thinking like you got the perfect marriage, and then
Yeah.
like I told you one time, me and Dre think our marriage was like the worst marriage because I felt like we're always put on Front Street.
Yeah.
But other people, like, their stuff was covered up. But like I told you, God began to show me and Andre, people's marriages, the inside of
Yep.
people's marriages.
And be toe up.
And girl be told up from the flow up. And
Right.
so I'm just like Dre said, I go, like how he said, I agree with him. Like he said, some people are they're very private. I understand that. Some people they're real reserved. And I respect, and I'm learning that about people. Some people are reserved. But then you have some people, like, have shared their stuff, they get shut down. But I just feel like at the
Yeah.
end of the day, the more honest you are, the more effective you will be.
I agree.
And I tell people even the listeners right now, like I tell people all the time, we're not perfect. I tell people all day,
Mm-mm.
I'm still growing daily. Like when it comes
Mm-hmm.
to my marriage, like I don't have it all together, and I have not arrived. Like Eddie Petty said last night, I'm not coming from a place of arrival. You know what I'm saying? But I'm still growing daily. But I think in the church, I love hearing marriages that be honest. Like, I just love when people are very transparent because it shows me like, okay, dang, we're not by ourselves. Like, you know what I'm saying? We still in this race. You know what I'm saying? And so, because I'm sorry, but some of the stuff be phony. And I'm just like, girl, I'll be like, okay, girl, okay. So, for me, the more, like in our generation, the more honest you are, we're going to be more receptacle and we're going to receive. Because that's the only way I can really, I don't need to know all your business. I don't need to know that. But I need to know, how did you get over this hump?
Right.
Honestly, not, oh, well, honey, we just
But you
prayed and sung
spray.
hymns
Yeah.
and blah, blah, blah. Nah, we're in a different generation right now. Our generations are different, and so But the more honest you are with us, 80s and up. Well, I would say, 80s, 90s, but well, yeah. But it's very, I think it's very vital, right? Like, to answer your question, it's um, very important to be honest, because, like I said, just you like you wearing the mask, and I think it's very vital in this generation, in this not people that know the truth. They need to know your story. They need to know, like, girl, yeah, I done, girl, cuss my husband out. Girl, I done slashed his tires or bleached his clothes. I done, girl, did it with Dre one time. I got upset with him.
Ooh, oh
Girl, we
man, I
got
forgot
too
about
bad.
that. Oh
Girl, I
my
bleached the
goodness.
clothes. I did.
They bleached out my church clothes. Man, hey, I still ain't
Girl,
recovered from that
I
yet.
mean, just being
Look,
honest though, but I was, girl, we got to real
yeah, she's
bad.
mad.
So,
Yeah,
like you
she's
said,
mad
right,
at me.
that mouth, like, and once I could go to like 100, I go to 100. But that was a couple years ago. But yeah, I bleached his clothes up. Yeah, it was hard. Yeah, I did. And I'm not proud of
Bleached
that,
it
but
down.
I tell women,
Yeah,
like,
it was
yeah,
horrible.
you did that. Yeah, I did that. Like, we ain't the Brady Bunch. Like, so, but it's very vital, to be honest. But I had to go back and apologize once again.
You've been
Okay,
apologizing the whole marriage, Dana.
girl. Yeah,
I apologize
I
too,
was,
right? I apologize for stuff too.
girl, he had
Now,
probably
I,
about $100,000 as much as I apologize. Yeah, so
well,
yeah,
I would say this too. She has put up with a lot too. You gotta understand.
yeah,
I had drama too. See, you see what I'm saying? See, that's just the part that men don't tell. I had baby mama drama.
yeah.
Uh, I had other girls that was jealous drama she had to put up with. I mean,
Yeah.
she dealt with a lot, you know what I'm saying? Then she had to deal with, on top of that, she had to deal with, see, that's some parts too with women too. When you become married, you gotta understand this, man. You got a lot of, you gotta deal with some different changes because some men ain't always complete all the time, you know what I'm saying? Men ain't always complete. That background story gonna come out. If you don't learn it before, it's
Right,
gonna
that's
come out.
true.
And I'm telling you, man, I had a background story. So, I had baby mama drama. I mean, well, she gave us some drama. And then I had back past issues drama with, what I'm saying, women where I didn't, what I'm saying, I had trust factors, what I'm saying, to
Right.
where I didn't trust women to a certain extent. And Dana was like one of the most honest person, but man, I had to keep questioning. And she and well, I'm saying, and she shouldn't have had to go through that. You see what I'm saying? But well,
Yeah, it was
but
a
I
lot. Yeah.
being in who I was, goes back to what you're saying me. But she was patient. Not sometimes, but she was patient though. She learned how to be patient though to
Yeah,
deal with.
it was the
But I was
process.
honest
Yeah.
with her that I had problems that, and that's one thing, man. We got to be honest with the women about the kind of problems we have. Sometimes we do, and sometimes women don't hear. They just like, look, I got me a man. He do good, but this man might have some issues
Right.
that he needs to resolve. And I had to ask God to help me because I had an anger problem too. See,
Yeah.
people don't think that
Mhm.
that I have anger problems, but I had some anger problems. You know what I'm
Yeah, he
saying?
did.
I would
Yeah.
man, I would hit stuff. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't hit Dana, but I hit like the wall or something like that when I get mad or
Mhm.
something. You know what I'm saying? Because that's how I released my anger when I was younger. I
Right.
never dealt with the problem, and so I had to get prayer for that anger on how to be patient, on how to handle things when I feel like my load was too heavy. Because back when how I dealt with stuff and different men deal with stuff differently. That and look, I'm about to tell you a lot of secrets, love, but different men deal with stuff different.
No, you
Back
free. You
but
good.
back
Free.
back in the day when I used to have to deal with stuff, I used to go to sex. You know what I'm saying? Because
Right.
men to go with whatever confidence. So I try to have sex with Dana. She like, dude, what are you doing, bro? Dude, we got unresolved issues. I can't be doing this with you. You know what I'm saying? We need to resolve these issues. I'm like, come on, I need some release. So look, that's what I'm
Yeah.
telling you. So those was the issues that I had to come with
Right.
God and be honest with Him and say, hey, look, Lord, I need you to help me on this matter because
Right.
I'm
He did.
tired I'm tired and that's the other thing I was you might hear uh I was tied to because I had some soul ties on me. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Well, God, he got a order into how you should get married, and I came in kind of like out of order. So I had some soul ties with me, so I'm carrying other people's emotions with me too. Because when you get to have sex before you marry, you begin to carry other people, those people you had sex with, you carry them with you. You might not think you don't, but you carry them. You carry them with you. Believe me, I know. I'm like, man, I'm acting like such and such used to act. Man, I'm tripping. So I had to ask God to deliver me, and then I had to ask Him to And I had this thing where I wouldn't talk. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't argue, but I just won't say nothing. They're like, man,
Right.
dude, what is wrong with you? You know what I'm saying? Man, I start watching a show from getting in, but inside, I really was depressed. You see what I'm saying? But that's how I handle my depression.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like some men they'll work all the time.
Yeah.
Some men that eat. I started eating, and
Yeah.
then
But
I
we both
started,
ate. Like we
yeah,
remember I said we both
yeah,
ate. Like we ate like we were emotionally eating. You know,
yeah,
we was
yeah,
in survival mode.
yes, trying to survive and not knowing,
Yeah.
you know. And
Yeah.
so I had to ask God to show me, you know what I'm saying? Because uh, one thing about being a husband, you don't have to be the best leader in the world, but you do got to be a great leader. And one thing about it, when you leading other people, their life is in your hand. When you're a husband, you got a lot of responsibility, and
Yeah.
your family's life is in your hands. The decisions you make, you know, some people blame their wives just like Adam blamed Eve, but God was looking towards me. Hey, look, dude, you are responsible for
Right.
these lives that's in your hand. That's he had to tell me that. So you got to start taking more credibility of what you're doing, how you acting, because whatever you're doing is going to affect your family. You know what I mean? So you have to realize when you're a husband, and even with a wife, she ain't just over the kids. She's still responsible for her husband too in ways. You know, for praying for him when he can't see the error of his ways, not asking God, look, change him, Lord, change him, Lord,
All
change him,
right, all
God. He don't
right,
know what
real.
he doing,
All
change him.
right, bitch.
Don't do that. But you can
Mhm.
ask God, hey, look, touch my husband's heart where he can see. I want him to see you. You know what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
you know, Dana, I'm quite sure she did a lot of that for me because God helped me with my anger. He helped me,
Yeah.
like when I started getting depressed, to be more open towards her. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, it took a while for her to break that barrier with me. You know what I'm saying? But
Good
because she
deal.
was so honest with me how she felt, you know what I'm saying? She had some tears come down. I was like, man, Dana, boy, she'll cry when she upset. She'll start crying and stuff like that. I was like, man. But I was like, man, I'm really hurting her. You know what I'm saying? I didn't realize that I was hurting her the way I was hurting her because I wasn't being more open. You know, I'm like, man, whatever, man. Hey, look, I ain't about to tell her none of this stuff. But you know, I began to open up to her about some things that happened to me when I was younger, and then she started saying, okay, I see why you act
Yeah.
this way. You know what I'm saying? I see what you got
Mhm.
going on. You know what I'm saying? So,
So that brings me to another question. So Dana, we talk about this too, because for those who don't know, I am divorced, but I do want to get married again. So
Right.
I've been married. I know the things that I don't want to do. I know the things that I want to do, but I'm dating. So it's like I'm having to tweak things and, trying to stay on point. So I dig into Dana a lot and Brother Andre. Thanks, guys, so much.
hmm
So one thing that they both know about me is my patience level is minute, like it's next to nothing.
You getting better,
So
right?
hmm
Yeah, you
that is
you
the
you
truth.
you in middle school.
yeah. So when something like I have patience for some, but most no. And so when I see something, I'm just like, yeah, no, I'm gone. I don't want to deal with this. And Dana was like, Ray, you don't have to get your patience together and know that when that man comes,
Right.
he's not going to probably have it all together, but
Mm-mm.
nobody does.
Mm-mm.
And so just
Mm-mm.
making sure that I have the patience to endure, because I can still have a good man but still have to. What did you
Right.
say? You said to me earlier today, Dana. Oh my gosh,
We
that
were
what
talking so
I
much,
lack,
I
he
couldn't
will
remember.
have, and vice versa.
Yeah.
And so I'm still going to be there to, to work it out. But
Yeah.
again, that comes from looking at myself and saying, you know
Right.
what, I know where this comes from. It comes from when I had a husband, I did everything but eat and chew and sleep for
Oh
him.
yeah. Yeah.
I did
hmm
like
Mhm.
90% of the things I did for him. And it was a lot. And so in my mind, I was just like, I don't want to do nothing. Like I need him to come ready. And Brother Andre was like, yeah, no,
That
not
ain't never
gonna
gonna
happen.
Ain't
happen.
gonna happen.
But
You
it
need
will
some.
not be my
Mm-mm.
last situation. And
Right.
so that's what
Mhm.
I have to keep in front of me. So
Yeah.
how important, like, does your patience ever stop? Like, since you guys have been married, do you still have to, have patience for one another throughout the marriage process?
I I would say I would. Let me just say this real quick. To free some women up. I'm learning patience daily. I'm not gonna get on her and acting like that. I have. the world's best patient. No, because like how you were, Ray, I'm like it. I could be like that at times. Like, and
Hmm.
guys really have really helped me with my patience level. Um, it's very important with the patients because, whoo, girl, Dre be like, baby, you got no patience.
Shit.
And
Hey.
I'm like, Dre, I'm getting
Hmm.
there though. I'm getting there. Just give me a minute, you know. But I think it's very important. Like even with him, I have to be patient. Just like he gets up every morning at 3:30. I'm a light
Oh
sleeper.
my God, I knew you was about to say
I'm a
something about
light
that.
sleeper. Uh, I'm a very light sleeper. I can hear anything. I'm like a girl, like a doggone, like a bird. And girl, he be knocked out. But but he gets up every morning like about 3:30, between 3:30 and like 3:45, because where he works at, he got to get up early. So, and honey, back in the day, girl, I used to be crying, spitting nails, fussing and cussing. I was like, dude, like if you, Dre, you don't even care, like, good lord, like my patience was like, uh, and but as we got older and growing our marriage, now like I told you today, Ray, I'm learning like, okay, this is Dre and this is me. So either I deal with this, but he's not doing it on purpose. It's just who he is as a human being. You know what I'm saying? He makes noises in the morning. He tries his best. He tries to shut the door, but girl, you hear him like,
Oh.
but I'm learning like, okay, God, either I can get upset or I can go off like I used to do and be. But God has given me a patience to deal with that. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So it's like now I get up, I go to the gym. I get up with him about 4 o'clock, or I get up or study or read my word or sometimes I may get up about 4:30 or 5 o'clock. So it's a choice, to be patient. So I think yes, we are growing daily with patience because he has to be patient with me, for me being at home, So some stuff he's patient with me on, so vice versa. So if that, we
Okay.
still work on patience every day, but it gets better.
Hmm. Every day. Yeah, because, man, I snore because I had sleep apnea,
Oh
man. She kicked
Lord.
me out that bed one
Ooh,
time, right, man. I was so mad.
ooh,
I thought somebody broke into the house because I fell on the floor so hard because she kicked me so hard. And I was like, man, did somebody just hit me? She said, Dre, you snore so loud. Man, the
oh
kids was
my
mad at me too,
God.
though. I was.
Oh, it's got.
She said, dude, you're going to have to do something about this, man. You need to take care of your health or you need to do something because, man, you snore too loud, bro. You waking up the whole house. I was in the
Oh, it
living
was
room. She like,
bad.
yeah. She like, you can't be falling asleep in the living room. Man, go to bed. Go to
Baby.
bed. Ah.
Oh Lord. Oh, I hate. That's when I hate snoring. Mm-mm. Ooh,
Yeah, yeah, but you gotta have patience, and
yeah.
patience is to grow. You know what I'm
Mm-mm.
saying? They take you know what I'm saying? You grow daily in the patience, you know what I'm saying? Just like God got to be patient with us. Because, boy,
Yeah.
I know we upset him all the time. Like, don't you know
Every
this?
day.
I've been
Mm.
telling you this. I've been telling you I'm gonna leave you. I will never leave you or forsake you. But, man, you still ain't gonna believe me.
Yeah.
I didn't I bring you out of that last week. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So I know he very patient. I was like, Lord, okay, I need to be patient with Dana too.
Well, Andre, he is patient. I would say he's patient with me. That's what I. One thing I do like about him as being my husband. Most guys are not patient with me, especially when some women deal with trauma
Yeah.
or been through what they've been
Mhm.
through. It takes a special man to really say, I'm gonna stick in this thing with you. That's what that's what actually drew me to Dre. Because I was dealing with a situation and his love and patience for me was understandable. He was not judgmental, but he was patient with me. And most dudes I've dated, a lot of times they were not patient with me at all. They just wanted sometimes just that one thing. Not all, but you get what I'm saying. But like Dre was very
Yeah.
patient with me because some men are not they're gonna run. They're like, man, this shit crazy, man. Something wrong with this shit. And I'm like, no, they're not. There's some good women that are out here. They just dealt with
Mhm.
trauma. They've been through so much. Just like some men have been through so much. But until you get to know their actual story, you be like, dang, like, but to have somebody, because Dre was very patient with me. That's one thing I always say when I even
Mhm.
say about us being married is his patience level with me is very good. Like
Hmm.
most men be like, man, I ain't dealing with that. Like,
Right.
but I wouldn't disrespect like cheating like that at all. But what I'm saying is like
Yeah.
being patient with me, like to say I'm gonna get through this thing with you because they're not gonna be patient with you like that. So it does take a special man
Mhm.
that has a relationship with God. Not saying he perfect, but you know what I'm saying. But like
Yeah,
for him, say I'm gonna hang in this thing, I'm gonna hang in here with you. I know you got this going on. Then they start studying, you as a female, like dang, like my wife, she thing, like with my thyroid issue. I was going through like a lot of emotional stuff. And
yeah,
some people
man. I ain't
judge
know.
me. But he didn't know what was going on with me. My hormones were out of whack. I was just had a lot going on. But by him just, walking that thing with me, and it was a challenge. And I'm like, Lord, Dre, Lord. And sometimes I'm like, I thank God that you put up with me. When I went through some of my hormonal changes, when I was going through my body, my physical body with my thyroid, because I
Yeah.
didn't know nothing about thyroid stuff. It was, I learned this stuff, and but I would say that's the key. One of the most, I said the top three with him will be his patience level. I would say with me will be, yeah, the best with me.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
So we talked about this earlier today too. One thing I absolutely miss about
Mm-hmm.
being married. Now, I know everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, she's gonna always go back to," but we had some really good times. And what I always think is important in a relationship is friends
Mm-hmm.
first. And
Yeah.
we were good friends. And I loved going on couples trips. I
Mm-hmm.
loved having couples time. I love playing games. We played,
Yeah.
like, I love that part of it. Like, we would have the couple time, then the homegirls would go hang out, then the guys would go hang out, then you come together, have your own time. That was like, I enjoyed that. So, how important do you think it is to have couples time with other couples?
You met somebody.
I mean, it's a good time. It's good to get out and try different things because you never know what somebody else might be going through. You know what I'm saying? And what they might be going through could help you. You know what I'm saying? And just that good time can take you away from all the things that you got going on. You know what I'm saying? So if you got stuff going on with issues with kids. And we seen it where we weren't the only ones having this issue with our kids. We talked to
Right.
another couple. They were like, "Man, we got that going on too. Don't feel this bad." I'm like, "Man, I'm tired of chewing out eating about the same thing. You having that problem too?" Like, "Yeah, we having that problem." So I'm like, "Man, okay then." But it's good to have a couple time, and it's good to have date night time, because one thing about being married, you do not want to get on routine. But we went
Yeah.
through that,
Oof.
and boy, we got on routine. Boy, we started disliking each other because
Yeah.
all we did, you know what I'm saying, work, home, children, boom, nothing for us.
Oh,
And then,
yeah, in church. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
in church. And then Dinah was like,
Yeah.
"Okay, so now you want to lay down and want to make love to me, and you ain't even spend no time with him." I'm like, "Come
Mm-mm.
on, man.
No
Shoot.
intimacy. Mm-hmm.
No
Mm-hmm.
intimacy, dog. You don't got no intimacy, no touch of Drake. You
Not
just want to
none.
do this." And I'm like, "Hey, shoot, I work hard. Hey, your husband's got to realize that." He's like, "Well, shoot, God said that body is mine." And God was like, "Nah, bro, you gonna have to do better what you doing. You got to at least
Right.
take her
Yeah,
out,
we
bro.
say.
She ain't no machine. You need
Right.
to at
This ain't
least
no
at
whole
least touch the
house. Like, what we
machine." Yeah,
doing?
I'm
Like,
like,
kids, we
man,
supposed to be, yeah, what
yeah.
we,
So,
so I mean,
so,
what we
so
doing?
you got to make that time to do that with your
Yeah.
wife. You know what I'm saying? And then that lets you know she appreciated it, because even I know a lot of people think, well, man, uh, I want to say this about at home moms. Man, at home moms do a lot, and people might be thinking, know what I'm saying? Your wife at home, man, she don't do nothing, do she? I like, no, she do a whole bunch, because she got to get the kids to school. She got to get dinner ready. She got to get clothes folded up, this and that. You know what I'm saying? So, as being a husband, you need to help your wife out. You know what I'm saying? Now she's running her own business. You know what I'm saying? So, we have to help our wives out. You know what I'm saying? I might I help fold the clothes up, help iron the clothes, you know what I'm saying? Whatever I can do to participate in the house. I don't want to put everything on her, because then I you know what I'm saying, you can't expect your wife to take do all this stuff with the kids, do the cleaning, do the cooking, do the laundry, uh have your food ready. Then she gotta satisfy your need too. Then you want her to pray for you, and then you want her to listen. Man, when's she gonna have time to do something? You know what I'm saying? So you got to make those opportunities to make sure she's appreciated, and make sure that you know what I'm saying, that you do things for her that you want. You know what I'm saying? I try to make sure Dana stay looking good, and then not just looking good. Then I'll make sure I talk to her and listen to her, because a lot of times husbands, we don't listen. We just be like, man, sure, it ain't no problem, man. All the bills paid. She shouldn't be mad at all. But sometimes we do. I was like that. I'm telling you, I
Yeah,
was
that
like that.
man.
I
I'm
was like,
like,
man, shoot, man, what
dude,
you
like,
mad for?
what
Man,
are
I
we
come in the
doing?
club. What
Like,
you mad
Girl,
for?
that
She
was
like,
boo. That was boo.
yeah. She like,
what
nah, bro.
we exchanging?
Right.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. She like, dude, you ain't asked, So
Yeah,
yeah, so I think we ought to do that.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Men and women. And women gotta ask how guys' days was at work. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes it's hard out here. I'm telling you, working is hard out here. And then what
yeah.
are you thinking about? We got to be more honest with y'all, what we got going on, or whatever what we dealing with.
I
You
hear
know, so
that a lot, that the men cannot be honest
Right.
with their
yeah,
women about what is actually going on. I've been hearing that it's more like happy life, happy wife, or happy
Right.
wife, happy
hmm
life.
Mhm.
And where it should be, I had a friend of mine tell me, it should be happy spouse, happy house. And
hmm
that has not been the case,
Right.
that it's always about the woman. And we just got to do better
Mhm.
with that.
yeah. Well, sometimes women y'all assume stuff. See, Dana used to assume all the time.
Yeah, I can
So
see. Yeah, I did.
sometimes I ain't used to be mad, but sometimes too, I didn't used to tell her everything. Like maybe I might have.
Hmm.
Was worried. Maybe I didn't trust God in this matter, and so instead of telling Dana I ain't trust God, I just try to fix it myself. See, that was my problem, and
Yeah.
then God started working on she. And then when Dana found out, she owned me though. Oh, dude, you just don't trust God. You don't trust God. That's why you ain't doing something. I'm like, dang, how you just gonna say that to me? You know what I'm saying? Look, pray for me first before you start saying that. I'm like, man, man.
Grace,
Man, show
grace.
me some grace, some brother, some grace, man. But anyway, but
We come this
but we need we
grace.
but you need see like, dude, you don't trust God. That's why it ain't happening. I'm like, man,
But
you
you
ain't
know
gotta be that
what?
out. Huh?
But it kind of go back. Not interrupt me, babe. But like how Reagan was asking, like how, like she said, like some of the men say that women they can't be honest with their wives. And I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
say this right quick. I'm gonna put myself on Front Street. It's times that Dre would do certain stuff to not hide from me, but he was like protecting me, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, well, I want you to tell me, like, what's going on, blah, blah, blah. And he could testify to this. And I'd
Mm-hmm.
be like, well, what's going on, blah, blah, blah. And girl, I couldn't even handle some of the stuff the way he had on his face. So I'm thinking like, oh yeah, I already handled this. I act now spiritual. Girl, goodbye. They went out the door. He's like, well, I got this, I got that, I got this. And it's like, I would shut him down. And I would just, go in. Once again, being acting immature.
Yeah.
So that shut him down. He's like, that's why I don't tell you nothing.
Right.
Because your mouth, that's why I don't tell you nothing. Because you want me to tell you, but when I tell you,
Can't handle
you
it.
trying to say this or do that, or I'm trying to like lead the role as the head. You know what I'm saying? So I had to learn to step back, and I want like no wonder why he didn't tell me nothing, because every time he tried to tell me something, back then, or it's times I'm like I shut him down, so he didn't want to open up to me. So I'm looking like dang him. That's what I tell women. Do you really want to know the truth? Do you want them to really tell you what's really going on, or can you handle the truth? Because it's a process. This steps to this. You have to
Yeah.
when you get through this. And so I would do that. I would shut him down like a lot of times. He's like, baby, said that's why I don't tell you nothing. Or I would use some stuff. I'm honest to say I've used that
Yeah.
was out of
Yeah.
immaturity. He would tell me
Yeah.
certain stuff when he would open up to me. Like I said, the last segment, I will,
Yeah.
will use that against him. And that really
Mm-hmm.
that was like a poison. That hit him really hard. So it's like that's why I don't tell you nothing. So I had to build trust back up, to
Mm-hmm.
allow him to tell me. So now it's like he know that, like, I don't play that. Like I'm big on covering people. You know what I'm saying? Not,
Mm-hmm.
I said, wait a minute, I don't discuss my husband. Like when I go on Facebook, I'm not gonna be like, man, Dre did. I'm not doing it. Like, no. And that mean we got perfect marriage, but I'm not exposing my spouse to nobody.
That was
You
going to
know,
lead me into the next
yeah,
question about coverage, because we talk about
yeah,
transparency,
right,
but there
right,
does need to be a part of covering your husband or covering
Right.
your
Yeah,
spouse. And I know I
Right.
walk a very thin line with that because I know a lot of people
Yeah.
are like, oh gosh, you say everything. But there's still a lot of things
Right.
that I still, and Boo is not even here anymore,
Right.
that I keep him covered. And I believe you don't want to tarnish. That's okay. So one of the things my mama told me when I first started dating Boo, she knew it was getting serious. And she said, I know you guys are probably going to get married. And I need you to remember one thing. Do not tell me any of your business unless you're ready to
What
leave.
you said, what you
Yeah.
said.
Don't tell me nothing
Mhm.
unless you are ready
Mhm.
to leave or your life is like in imminent danger. Don't
Right.
say nothing. And that always stuck with me because what ends up happening is when you release things, especially on social media, you have to be very careful. When you
Mhm.
release things on social media, you don't know who's watching. And let's just say you say something about Dre
Mhm.
sideways. Oh, well, shoot, Vanessa could have been looking at Dre for 2 years. And guess
Mhm.
what?
That's
She
right.
done caught you slipping. And guess what?
Mhm.
That leaves Dre vulnerable because you up here acting a tail and putting his stuff out there. So she in his inbox, baby, I
Right.
wouldn't do that. If you was with me,
Mhm.
I would keep you covered. I wouldn't tell our secrets.
Mhm.
So you have to be mindful of what
Yeah.
you say about your
Mhm.
man.
Mhm.
Mhm. Or your
And
wife too.
ooh, I just
Yeah, you
say
gotta
some
keep it. You
stuff.
Mhm.
gotta keep it covered. 'Cause he like,
Mhm.
Yeah,
then you
and if you
like,
don't want them,
yeah,
leave them alone.
yeah,
Let
Yeah,
somebody else have them.
we went through that too.
yeah, yeah. You do.
We went
Yeah.
through that. Mhm.
You have
We
to keep.
went
You
through
have to
that.
keep. Yeah. Go ahead, Dre. He over grinning, skinning, and grinning.
Hey, we went through that too, man. We went through that. But I would let's see. I would say look, I'm not even gonna put you on blast like that, man. I ain't even gonna mess with
Well,
you.
we interest me. I'm free. I'm
Uh,
free.
okay then, I'm gonna
Okay.
say it then. Look. So look.
Oh, look.
So look.
Segment up.
So look. Okay. Look, one time this dude liked the data, you know what I mean? And so, you know what I'm saying? She didn't see it. So, I'm trying to tell her, hey man, hey, dude, man. So he talking to me. Now, look, this the crazy point though, Reagan. He talking to me about her. So he like, yeah, man, I want a girl, man. She light skinned, she honest, funny. I'm like, yeah, she wear heels and stuff. I'm
He's
like,
so
man.
extra.
And man, she cool, man. She just cool, man. This I'm like, man, that sound like my wife, you know. And then, so I'm just looking at him. So I tell Dana, I say, hey man, this dude like you, man.
I ain't see it. Like, I
She's like,
didn't.
man, he don't like me. This man, we been friends forever. I like, man, hey, dude like you, man. And by this time, if hey, if you want to see me mad, you mess with my kids and my wife. Oh, I'm about to get mad. See, people always trying to figure out what made me mad. Well, that's one thing that pissed me off. So, yeah, now we at church. I'm about to get it. You know what I mean? So I'm like, man, he got one more thing. So look, guess what? He didn't even stop there though. And at the time though, I wasn't. I'll say this. I wasn't. Taking Dana anywhere. All I did was try to work, you know what I'm saying? Even though, and I
Yeah.
could have did better. I at least could have took her to Burger King or somewhere, you know what I'm saying?
Burger
I could have
King,
been in a
bruh,
dinner or
Chick-fil-A,
something,
dog.
or bruh,
Not
Chick-fil-A,
Bougie Betty. You
cause
ain't
Dana,
taking Bougie
yeah,
Betty to no Burger King.
oh yeah, you already know. Well, you know what I'm saying?
Ugh.
I'm thinking, well, man, I haven't been taken out at the time, and
No.
then I haven't, you know what I'm saying? I got so caught up with the kids. So man, hey, I'm trying to
Yeah.
make sure we eat this and that, but not even expressing, but didn't even make a sacrifice for my wife and my, you know what I'm saying, for her at the time.
Yeah.
So everything that he had, and I'm gonna tell you how the enemy worked.
Yeah.
Everything that she was wanting, he had it.
Yeah. It was
Okay.
counterfeit.
Only thing I had was the job, but he had everything else. I mean, he had the credit. I mean, he had everything. You know what I'm saying? I'm
He
hurt.
said he had the
You know what I
credit.
mean? He had the credit,
Dang, he
everything.
broke it down.
My
Dang.
boy had the credit. My boy had the crib. I mean, he was he well respected. You know what I mean? And so, man, so this is what got me. So I'm like, man, dude, like you. So she was like, yeah, but it's plenty of people that be doing stuff. So man, we come to church. And I'm talking about we at church, and I'm singing. Now, this is the only time I probably ever got out of character at church. Dana comes in the church, I'm smiling like, I'll be happy for the family. We about to get ready to start praise and worship.
Ad libbing.
yeah, we about to get ready to start praise and worship. And I'm up there and I got the mic in my hand. This dude comes up to Dana and he talks to Dana. He done kissed on the cheek. And I'm like, what the? Man, I said, I know I ain't just see what I seen. I'm about to come off the stage, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm upset. And I'm like, oh, bro, nah, this got to end. I said, look, either you going to say something to him out the church or me and him going to have a problem. So, you know what I mean? So, and she was like,
But
bro,
that
I
door,
never seen you
that the
so
door
upset.
off it down.
Yeah,
The
but
door
I
off it.
left that. Yeah,
Yeah,
I know. That's what I'm saying. But that's what
yeah.
I'm saying. I left that door open. And the other thing I want to say, Reagan, is too. God had checked me one time too. Uh, I was talking to a friend about Dana. You know, I got upset, so I had needed an avenue. I needed somebody to talk to. So I really couldn't tell my mama nothing like that because she didn't really understand. So I got to telling one of my friends about Dana. You know, he's married too. So man, I'm yapping. I'm going in. I'm saying, man, she doing this, she doing that, blah blah blah
Right.
blah blah. You know, and then and I'm talking to him. As I'm talking to him, the Lord tells me, He said, "You complaining, you sworn by the words of your mouth." And I was like, "What? Every you keep saying what your wife ain't. I need you to start saying what she is. Get that, husband. Put that in your thing. You keep saying what your wife ain't. You keep telling me what she ain't. You telling others who she ain't. I need to start. You need to start telling me who she is, because that ain't who you saying she is ain't who she is. I gotta on construction, and you keep speaking. You're the head of her. You need to change your speak. And he like, you talking about speak life, love. The Holy Spirit still talking to me. You talking about speak life. You ain't speaking life. Life and death is in that tongue, and you killing her right now with the
Right.
words that's coming out of your mouth. You need to fix that. And then I told dude, I said, man, look, I can't even, man, I can't tell you that. No, I can't speak ill will of my wife no more. You know what I'm saying? Even if I got a complaint, I'll just tell God instead of saying it to somebody and try to say it to man. Man, girl, man, she work. You know what I'm saying? And every time she would work me. You know what I mean? She was working me. I was like, man, she's working my nerves, brother. Man, she don't understand. And she wouldn't understand. But I like when I started talking to God and started telling him, man, hey, Dana ain't understanding. How can I fix this thing between me and her? Because I'm having a hard time. And God said, and then he started talking to me. And then whatever he did, you know what I'm saying, he had the Holy Spirit talk to me. I don't know. He told me what to say and it was fixing. You know what I mean? So I changed that. So I try when I see myself about to say something out of the ordinary to somebody about Dana, you know what I'm saying? God felt he remind me, hey, what I tell you.
Right.
Yeah. Hmm.
Oh. Well, we're approaching that hour.
She like
Okay,
sleep
Tina.
time. Hmm.
I didn't even ask even half the questions, but that normally is how it goes. But I just kind of lead as you guys talk, and the Holy Spirit is talking to me, just okay, ask this next. So I try to make sure it's a good flow. So we'll probably have to come back again, and that's
Okay.
okay. Married couples, I'm going to go ahead and say this. I did not ask their permission, but I'm going to go ahead and say it because I feel led to. Married couples, if you have any questions, cares, or concerns, please contact Andre and Edana in their inbox. They will be more than happy to talk to you guys. They are safe. They are a
Yeah.
safe place. They are safe and they are honest. And y'all know I try, well, I was going to say, I don't fool with everybody.
Yeah.
But she's probably one of the people that I can just really just let myself hang out with no judgment. And she'll
Hmm.
check me in a nice way, or she'll say, okay, girl. And we'll just go back and revisit it later. And then Brother Andre is going to always chime in with his 5 cents. And so I'm appreciative of that.
Yes, preach,
So,
preacher. Yes, you
so
know you
they
gonna start
are,
preaching.
And
yeah,
I'm gonna pray. I'm
so
gonna
they
pray.
are
And I'm
a
gonna pray
safe,
too.
what'd you say?
I said I'm gonna pray too. If you tell
Yeah,
us
we
something,
will pray.
then let's
Yeah, we
believe.
will.
I'm not gonna if somebody know your secret, it won't be from us because I'm gonna pray. I'm gonna
That's
pray, and
right.
because we always think if somebody tells something that we know what I'm saying because people they're private. So if you
We
do
gotta
tell
try to
us something,
cover
we gonna
people. Yeah,
first thing we're
yeah,
gonna do is pray for you.
yeah.
We ain't gonna take no sides. We're gonna
Hmm.
ask God to tell us what to say to you, and you know what I mean. And I mean that's pretty much how we are. How
And we
we
won't
is,
look at you the same either, because
yeah,
like I
we're
said,
gonna
we
yeah.
flawed too.
Mm-hmm.
They're very relatable, and relatable.
Yes.
And so, again, if you need somebody an outlet, as far as relationships or just whatever are concerned, contact Andre. And women, the same for Edana. They are both safe spaces, and are God led first, and then, like I said, real, and that's what we need in today's world. So, guys, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule today. I really appreciate you. And we'll be back at some point in time. And if they're not back with me, they'll be back on their own. Amen. Amen.
Amen. Receive
Amen.
that.
We're working on it.
So, guys, thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. And thank you for the replay viewers. Again, if you have any questions, cares, or concerns, you may inbox me. I'll be free to talk to you as well. And I am private too. So, you guys have a good one. This is Reagan Adams with All Things Reagan. And Reagan says, I think it, I see it, I do it. Bye, guys.
Good night.
Good night.